Everybody, welcome back to Benton. I'm Yumble, and today we are going to be moving over to the island. I know we started on the island in our previous episode, but I'm going to give some alternate mobility options to get across to the island and also expand the island road network towards the eastern side of the island and through the center, of course. Some problems are probably going to crop up while I'm doing this. Some of them I will address, and some of them I'm going to ignore for later episodes. If the traffic gets out of control on our starting area, just know I've got a couple solutions up my sleeve for that, but I don't know if I'll be able to solve it this episode. Everyone, thank you for being here. I'm Yumble. Let's build Benton. Before we start building up the island, I know I mentioned mobility options to get across these bridges. I've got this road from the Vanilla Plus pack. I just want to swap out this bridge for the bike lane version. So a 4-lane with median, 2-way road with bike lane on the side. So what I'm actually going to do is delete all the centerpieces. This will make my life a lot easier. And then redraw these, and it should automatically give me bridges going across. If you've noticed, whenever you build an elevated network over water, it gives a unique... There we go. Look at that. Bridges. Cool. It's always good to redraw when this type of bridge is involved, because otherwise it'll not work out right. I can show you what I mean if you want, but yeah, I think that's a much better solution. I know that up here, in the last episode I put a bike path. I've actually swapped it out for a pedestrian and bike path, so there are cyclists on here. No doubt. I don't see any. Oh, there's one. They're just kind of in traffic, in pedestrian traffic, so I figured why not combine the bike and auto traffic and just let them use the bridges. Easy solution. There it is. So now we've got bike lanes and pedestrian walkways and cars going across all in the same place. I also have this sneaky bike road that I'm going to use in certain places. So it looks exactly like my suburban network, except I haven't swapped out the trees for Young Linden yet, which I will. Hashtag Young Linden. But I think it's basically identical otherwise in appearance, except this road allows for parking and for cycle usage. So there's a hidden bike lane in here. It's just implied that bikes and cars share the road, essentially. But I'm actually going to replace this entire thing up the way. I'm probably going to use Bob to replace those trees as well, but just so you can see the difference for now. So this is extending our bike network up into... Oh, I don't want it to delete that, so I'm going to turn off collision. So now we've got a bike network that goes all the way up into this area, and probably all the way down into this area. And I'll let it connect down here, that makes sense. And I'm going to do the same thing along the other side, just to expand the bikeability of the whole place. On these small roads, really, there's no reason that bikes wouldn't be allowed to use them in real life as well. These small, low-speed roads, so I figured why not extend the cyclist's range along these in-game. All bike paths really do is exactly what I said, extend the range that cyclists will path on a given area of the map. So it further incentivizes bike usage. I also don't think I've turned on the bike policy yet, so I'll probably turn that on shortly. But yeah, the inside of this water is now all bikeable. We'll see the effects of that in just a moment. I've turned on the encourage biking policy under city planning, so there should be a higher percentage of bikers that choose to use the cycle paths, etc. So every cyclist is one car off the road, so that's essentially the name of the game with that. I've had a lot of you tell me that it's better to upgrade roads using the vanilla method, so taking my Young Linden here and then upgrading this network like that. I've had a lot of people tell me I should do it that way. The reason that I don't do it that way is because now I have to go and click every single segment of road that I've already clicked once. I have to do it again. Plus, for every future instance of this network, I'll have to go back and re-add the trees. That's a ton of work that you're all advocating for. The reason I like Bob is because you click the network, you click on the offending tree or prop or whatever. This also works for buildings. If I wanted to swap out buildings, the props or the trees on buildings, I could do that very easily. But Tree 2 variant is going to be swapped out for Young Linden. Click the button one time. That is it. And it's already swapped it for that entire network, so now it matches my other network. Plus, all future instances will also have that tree on it. So for those of you that are saying do it the vanilla way, I'm glad we have that option now, where you can just take a tree and then click on a road and it'll update it. That's good that the option is there, but I gotta say, Bob is way better. Bob is better in every in every sense of the word. Bob is a better option for doing that type of thing. Let's take a look at our bike paths. I see a lot of walking going on, which is good. I see a bit of cycling. I suspect this one is crawling with bikers. Yep, there they are. There are more cyclists than there are vehicles on the bridge. I would have to say. Maybe that's just because cars are faster, but yeah, extending the bike network all around here is probably good for all of the traffic. This area will have many less cars. This area will have many fewer cars as well. Fewer. And one day I'll probably extend it into this area, but for now I figure we'll leave that option open. Let's start extending the road network over here and seeing how this fleshes out. I'm fairly certain that the island will continue this high density trend that we have going on, and I may increase the density down here. We'll see about that. I'm not sure about that area yet. I'm also fairly certain that this straight road probably goes all the way into this area. So I'm going to continue that straight across, and we'll just go to the edge here. Something like that. And I wonder if this is probably also a large road, I would gather, I would assume. So maybe let's see what this looks like if we go straight off of there, and then we'll try to curve around the bottom of this to make it line up. I'm just going to use the shoreline as my guide here. That looks pretty good. This area gets very, very high. That's not really going to change anything I do. I'm going to kind of ignore the fact that it's doing that, and we're just going to keep going. But just to point it out. Okay, these guys have been conscripted into large road mode. Let's curve to the right a little bit. So freeform road tool, curve to the right, just so we're acknowledging that this sticks out a little bit. Of course, I could terraform all this away and make it disappear, but then what's the point of picking a cool map if I do that every time I see something interesting? Just flatten it out. Ooh. Something like that. Something just about like that. Let's see if we can use the curved road tool. Let's see if our guide shows up. Hey, there it is. Okay. Nice. Okay, so we do have this sheer cliff face with grass at the bottom. I might end up painting the grass in with sand or something like that. That might be the move here. This can be called the cliffs. This can be a feature of some sort. Or how about this? Here, let's actually smooth it down a little bit because it is kind of wonky. But I don't want to suck all the character out of it. I still want it to have a bit of something to it. So I'm going to do, I did this trick when building this area in an earlier episode. I'm going to use Move It to select all of the nodes that are sort of funky or on the funky terrain. So I'm just going to select all these nodes that I've just made and hit delete while knowing I can undo that at any time to replace them and put them back. So let's, like I said, without taking all the character away, let's kind of even this out just a little bit so it's not absurd. And that should be enough so it's not so crazy. Now I can go into Move It, Control Z on the keyboard. That's back where it was, and I can also take this and do to terrain height, and it'll put it down to that new terrain level. There we go. So that's kind of the best of both worlds between these two. Ooh, now I see... I don't like that it looks sunken, though. I could soften the terrain a little bit more. Yeah, we'll just do a tiny terrain softening here. Or better yet, I'm going to select just the nodes that I want to even out, raise them a little bit to kind of split the difference. A little more cliff and a little less sunken on the other side. And this node probably needs to just come up a little bit. And we can slope between these. Just select all three and hit slope. Nice. Looks reasonable to me. I'm not sure what happens in between. Clearly this is going to be filled in somehow. But let's finish sketching out the arterial. We have so much money. We have so much money. It's actually... money-wise, we are doing great. Alright, so perhaps this even goes under the highway. I'm cool with that. That works for me. Is there another major road that intersects this, is the next question. How many major north-south routes does this need? I count 1, 2... A third might be nice, because I don't really want all of the traffic having to cross at the single-point urban interchange. I suppose it would be nice to split that up. So let's see where this lies on this road, and maybe that'll be our third north-south road. That doesn't hit any pillars, so that's nice. And I think we're leaning left of center a little bit on the measurements here. 47, 52. I'm going to go to the right a little bit and try to center it between these two. 50, 49. Yeah. About there. And then what happens down here? So this looks like another park to me. This is starting to shape up as we're missing these rocks. Okay. That looks good. Those two should be aligned with one another. Not that they need to be, but they are. This one almost certainly comes down and hits there. But is it really going to be another bridge, though? No, it probably isn't. So does this need to be a major road? I'm going to complete this for now. I'm going to go right to the bottom here. I don't think this is going to become a bridge. I think that they can find their way to that other major road. They can find their way to here if they want to cross to this area, which will come about in the future. But that's probably good for big roads. Oh, this guy. Yeah, you should come over. This entire very large, very dense area might want to connect here. So let's give them a way to do that. And that begs the question, does this continue over to here? Oh, it seems like it should, but I don't think it needs to be this large of a network to do it. Not really. Let's do this, but with a small road. Let's go to our suburban road, whether it's the suburban bike road or otherwise. I love both those networks. We're still kind of sunk in here. I'm going to raise this up just a little bit. More cliff, less sink. I don't want to mess with this area again once I've made all these decisions. Alright, so we cross there. I do think it's good to leave these as large roads because they're all going to converge here. So I think that makes sense. And if these end up not making sense, road hierarchy-wise or any such thing, then we will reduce their size if necessary. That makes sense to me. Continue that up. A little bit of character. Break up the grid. The rest of it is going to be very gridded according to what I've already done here. It looks quite gridded. So now we just have to pick one of these and sort of start filling it in. Let me think on it for just a second. I think it's reasonable that this diagonal road that we've started would continue across. So let's just get that to the end. Gives me something. And then maybe there's another east-west network that goes across here. At least one, if not more than one. Is this about midway? 16, 17? Yeah. It's right where I want to be. This one probably does not continue. What we could always do is take this, the rocks, and move them down here. As the pioneers used to do back in the day. Ride them across the prairie. This whole thing needs to be broken in half, probably. At least in half, if not some value greater than in half. Let's see what this does. 50 units, 25, 25. Just to see what it looks like. So those are some very large blocks, would be my concern. Maybe there is a network that goes along the edge here. Oh, let's actually split this in half. Yes. That looks great. We'll do the same thing on this side. Yep. Okay, we've got blocks. I don't want to put too many breaks in these roads is the thing. These roads are going to have a lot of cars, the avenues with trees in the middle. So we don't want to add too many connections to that whole situation. What I would like to do probably is connect these. Make a little block on the end there. Same thing on this side in that case. That's good. I don't know that I want to do the same thing over here, though, because it might be nice to have two larger sections in there. That might these may come in handy if we need a, say, another university area or parks or what have you. So let's leave those available. Also as tempting as it is to just run these down into this area, that might add too many connections on this road too. Alternatively, hold on a second. Change of plans. Okay. I'd be okay with that. That sort of breaks up this area so this isn't a straight through road anymore, but it still gives us one large space, two smaller spaces. I like that. But that makes me want to continue these down, so let's just do that. Please stay lowered. You'll see it wanted to create a bridge there. I really don't want that to be a bridge. That's a nasty nasty idea. So let's lower that to ground level, as makes sense. This spot probably acts similar to this one. Let's see. Maybe there's a road that goes across the whole thing. I just want to see where that might come out if I decide to do it. That's not bad. Yeah, let's do that. So across to there, and then to the other side. I like it. I don't know what goes here yet. This is certainly a little less dense than some other areas. Unless we decide to continue this down, but then that's a lot of connections for this road. Let's risk it. Let's just do it. Forget about the big space. Big space is over. The time of the big space has lapsed. Time of small spaces. Here's my logic. The smaller the block, the more walkable and bikeable it is. Let's leave a big space at the bottom. So the big space isn't totally gone. This will be a unique little area for something unique, but we'll have density up in this spot here. I refuse to do the same thing to this road. Doing that would be way too many connections, because this road is always going to be hammered with traffic. Hammered with traffic. It's always going to be a magnet for traffic. So that actually seems okay to consolidate all the traffic here into one space. This area will probably deserve its own connection too. So 49, 24. Yep, that's good. That works for me. We'll leave this open. We'll leave that open. We'll see about these, but we'll leave them as they are for now. Let's get some zoning in. While we're on it, let's think zoning here. So certainly Low density would make sense. Low density commercial would make sense along the main drag. I'm okay with that. Some businesses to attract cars and people. Cars aren't people. And I suppose we'll leave the hospital there for now. Not you. And along here. The high-density commercial doesn't make sense along roads like this, in my experience. Also, can we talk about how it would be amazing to have mid-rise buildings? Like, what if there were an option in between low density and high density? What if there was a mid-rise? Because there's a lot of times where I really don't want there to be very tall buildings in an area, and I'd rather have kind of a mid-rise, either transitional area or the ability to build a city that's not so tall. Either or, I would take either. So for residential buildings, at the very least, I suppose this will be high-density residential, and this will be high-density residential. And let's continue that up this way. High-density through here. I'm leaving a space because this is probably going to be commercial along this big road. And high-density through here. And in this area too. Now they're also going to want some offices probably. As this area becomes educated and it grows, let's check our education. I got asked last time, in the last video someone commented, how did you know whether to use industry or offices? My logic is take a look at your educationometer here and see what percentage of people are highly educated. As that number grows, so too should your office areas. So right now we have fairly minimal office zoning. I'm just trying to keep up as the education cycle kind of progresses by including offices to fulfill the industry zoning, rather than expanding the industry area. That's probably going to move out at some point. Not today, but eventually we'll move that out and see what happens. High school availability is also somewhat on the fence. Also, this area doesn't have good coverage. I've really hung them out to dry education-wise. It would be very kind to put high density in here, I think. Maybe we'll replace a bit of this commercial... sorry, did I say high density? A high school is what this area actually needs. So there is a high school down here already, which would be good for this entire area, but this dense spot here has no high school to call their own. So let's do right here next to this path. We'll do that, and I'll allow that building to grow back in. Yeah, that makes sense. That'll fill up fairly quickly as well. Oh, pipes. Pipes, pipes, pipes. The classic move. So now, let's do this. They love that. And then down to here at the very least. There's a road here. I don't suppose this will come back to bite me later. Famous last words. Metaphorically, of course. I'll throw that one up to there just for fun. It may be a problem here. I may have to fill in the pipes, but for now I'm not going to worry about it. So there's a lot of industrial demand. That makes me want to put some offices in here. So we'll consider this a bit of a mixed-use spot. I put offices over on this side of the road, so a few on this side isn't a bad thing. And as residential demand spikes, we will add more offices and commercial. Let's do a bit of high-density commercial somewhere. Like maybe here on this corner. We'll just fill this up with high-density commercial. And maybe this is a college, because we are approaching complete density on university. So eligible, there are 3,300 students eligible, or people eligible. There are only 1,000 using the university. I don't suppose I have a policy on changing that. I don't. Education boost is off currently. What was on? What was that? Oh, I turned on recycling. Okay, recycling is on. How's trash holding up? I forgot about the trash. I forgot to check back in on that. Yeah, trash is great. Garbage processing is high enough. This will probably get moved over to this area or something. And we may need an extra building like this for to cover this spot. But whatever. Yeah, this is working just fine. Oh no, they are completely isolated. Okay. There is residential demand, so let's use... Yeah, let's leverage high-density residential to convey power to this area. And of course the pipes... Once again, the pipes are calling. Just down to there might be fine. Does that do it for that area? I can't wait to get rid of the pipes. I have no interest in building pipes. Oh, okay. They're good, and they're also covered by electricity now. That's great. Our electricity availability is fine because this building produces like 50 megawatts. Yeah, right on the nose, 50 megawatts. That's dependent on how much trash is being incinerated, I guess, or processed, quote unquote. I'm going to take a second and save the game and let some of this zoning come in, and we'll see what happens. I opted to throw in a bunch of high-density residential right in the middle of this block because that kind of... It lends itself to that type of zoning, so I'm going to let that grow in, but in the meantime, I would love to see what happens if we extend the bike network here. So I've got collision turned off, so it's not going to destroy the buildings. But what if they could bike right through this area off the bridge? I think that would be a triumph for the people who live here. It'll also incidentally solve a lot of traffic, I feel, if we let people bike from place to place. Like here, let's extend this bridge too. Why not? And then we'll connect these areas, bike lanes. They're losing the trees, but I'm okay with that. That's a fine. There are networks that have trees with bike lanes, but I say whatever. It'll be fine. Cool. Now on the other side, what effect will it have? Let's check traffic real quick. Probably 86, 87, okay. We're always floating around that number because right now the network is incomplete. Eventually there's going to be connections from the highway over here, connections over here, so this one won't be slammed so hard. This one alleviated a bit of traffic, but like not nearly enough. So eventually there will be a connection over here. But in the meantime, let's take our 87% and we'll see if that changes if we... This bridge is bikeable, so let's just let them bike right out of this area across the bridge. Like, why not? They're losing the trees, but they're gaining bikeability. On this side, it's a bit more nuanced, in my opinion. I don't know that I want cyclists interacting with incoming traffic here. At the very least, we can connect it here. At the very least, the bike lane can go to there, and there's still ways for them to get around that. Ah, what the heck. Let's just do it and see what happens. Ooh, it hates me. I'm going to pause it for a second while I make this move, because I'll have to reset up this roundabout. But yeah, we'll continue into this area, all the way to the back. They can bike wherever they want to. And this one as well, I don't see why not. And since we've done all that, we might as well do this too. We'll see how much people like biking on these major roadways. Give you a hint, they're gonna love it. They're gonna make use of it, I promise you that. We'll start with that for now. Maybe this one too. Yeah, we'll start with that for the time being. I'm going to let it run, let this grow in, let some bikes build up. We'll see what effect that has in a moment. While I was letting the game run, our water capacity actually dipped below below good. It's not working right. This area lost water, so let's add What I'd really like to do is start a new water area because I really hate this. This was just how I started the city because this was the starting tile. The water had to go somewhere. But let's start preparing an area like here next to this highway. I think next to the highway is a great spot for water because who cares? They're not going to worry about the noise pollution, nothing like that. And I'm actually going to take all of these, all of our water pumps and just put them along the river here. You'll notice that I'm also putting them upstream of everything. So these are the water intake pumps. You want those closer to the source rather than further. Like, you don't want this downwind of the city. You want this to be downwind? Downwater of the city. You want this to be at the upper area so that you're not polluting, as I am. I'm polluting the heck out of that area. You want these to be upstream. Upstream, that's the term. From your polluting sewage dumpers. Ooh, anarchy is on. I don't need anarchy for this, so we'll turn that off. Oh, out of city limits. How about I'm going to turn anarchy back on and be indifferent, as long as I can add water pipes. Can I? Oh no, it hates me. Okay, well, forget what I said. Where is the best place within city limits for the water? I hate that. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's buy a tile. We will... Let's move these downstream, because I know these are going to get pushed further and further away from the build as life goes on, and they don't really care where they go. They don't really... Like, it's fine. The dirty pipes. So we have 3 so far. I'm going to add a 4th. Did I do the regular? These are the regular as opposed to the eco pipes, yeah? They must be because they look dirty. The eco pipes produce less pollution, but they cost more money, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just going to stick with the dirty pipes for the time being. And anarchy doesn't care either way. I'm toggling it. Whatever. Here's fine. So that completes our need for that, and I will add a windmill. Sorry, a turbine, as this is too far from the electricity of the city. So we'll just toss that in there. Self-sustaining water pipes. These, I'm going to move them all back. I really don't want to buy a tile or anything. Maybe over here. Maybe we'll do this, just so I don't have to buy a tile just for water pipes. I've already paid to move these once, and I'll do it again. I'll do it as many times as is required. And this is fine because it's from a source, so that's okay. And this is where we have unlocked. So let's do this. Along the way here, 1, 2. Anarchy does not seem to matter. I keep toggling anarchy, and it'll let me place these on top of one another if I so choose. I really don't want to do that. Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. I was not toggling anarchy. That's fine. Alright, move the last one back, and then we'll move the other ones over. I'm also sort of a fan of removing pipes that are no longer necessary. So we'll take this fella, bring it over here, give it its own power source. That should be fine. If it's not, I'll find out right away. And then go back and remove all of these unnecessary pipe ends here. Thank you. Thank you for your service. You've been retired. Those are all connected. These must be connected. There we go. Let's make sure it works okay. 3-speed for a second. Oh. Oh! Oh, I have to connect... Give someone mods and they forget how the game works entirely. We need to reconnect these to the network. That'll be fine for now. These have to come down. I'm not a bad person, I swear. Just a bad player. There it is. Much better. I've also severed our electricity grid, but I can reunify it. Just about like that. Let's see if that works for power. Great. So that works for power. Yep. Power is back online. That's good. Water is back online. Our electricity availability stands strong. Our water is back. Okay. Crisis caused. Crisis averted. It's fine. Let's see how the bikes are doing now that I've massacred our utility grid. This is not a bike roundabout. Part of me is tempted to turn it into one, but that also seems pretty dangerous for a downtown area. But also, who cares? It might be totally fine in a city skylines standpoint. This is a heavy intersection with lots of bikes and lots of cars. At some point, this is going to turn into probably a traffic light, I suppose. But I'm sure that biking is at an all-time high. I'm sure bikeability is. All kinds of bikeability. This one already had tons of biking on it. Now we've really expanded that bike network. Last time we checked, the traffic was at 87%, I believe. There's no guarantee that it's changed much, but every little car off the road helps. 87. Was it at 86 or 87 before? I don't know. 86. Oh, it's at both. It's at either. This is fine. I think that those numbers will continue improving once transit has been explored, because right now there is no transit other than our intercity bus connection. I think transit will help massively when the time comes, and I think a connection up here will also help massively, as a bunch of cars will be able to get in and out from this highway, and also over here too. Every connection helps. Now that I've mentioned it, let's add another intercity bus terminal so that the Sims have an option to enter the city over on this side. Maybe it goes somewhere where the buses have a good time turning around. It could be here. Almost enough space there. This is a sensible move on the corner here, so the buses can come in and turn around and then exit. Or maybe here. Yeah, as I said, as long as they can find a way to turn around, this is a strong spot too. So let's actually remove these buildings. And we'll go with the smaller intercity bus station. We're going to delete these trees too. Enough of them to fit the station. Intercity bus station. That looks good. We'll add that in. And we'll see how long it takes before buses start being attracted to that. Because that'll be good. That'll get people onto the island rather than coming into the city over here and then having to bike across or drive across, which doesn't really make sense. But I guess that the Sims produce pocket cars if you let them. That's the truth. Oh, there we go. We've got people employed. That's what that means. So what I'm looking at right now, I feel like not enough people use traffic routes to understand what's going on. So if you're not hip, click on a building and then click this little toggle traffic routes view, and it'll show you everyone going to and from this building. Also works for roads. It's pretty heavy. If you click a heavy enough road, it'll show you lots and lots of traffic. But we can see the bike. As that populates, let's look at our bike network. So I've clicked this little Dutch suburban street, right? The Dutch suburban road, which is a bikeable suburban road. People are biking all the way from the top up here down into this corner, is what that tells me. The range of Sims that are willing to bike has been expanded completely. Even like somewhere like here, they will come all the way from this side and they will make it all the way up into this area. Yeah, it's good. Down here, there should also be some substantial bikeability, walkability, etc. This was the most impressive, though. That's really good. People are biking from here all the way to here. If I click this one, it'll probably show that this area is lit up with bikeability. So are these areas. So extend the networks. See the results. It's very good. Nothing yet, but we'll let this keep going. What I'm waiting for, you'll see that the pink public transit, what is this? Public transport and cargo is pink. So I'm waiting for pink buses to show up. What this is showing is pedestrians are queuing up waiting for their bus to leave the city, which is good. Now they no longer have to come over here, but I'm still waiting on the pink icon, just like this, which shows buses coming in and out of the city. This one is very well served. This one has yet to have a bus, but that's okay. Splitting up your connections is always a good idea. Here we are again. The trash problem is back in full force. Just to show you what's going on, our processing status has just dipped below where it needs to be. So we are at, I think, 240, if I'm not mistaken. How can I see it? Well, this is the only processing building, so we've dipped... Okay, 240 per week, but we need an amount greater than that is the thing. I'm able to see it in City Vitals. Okay, so we're able to produce... How does this work? Oh, okay, we're not entirely below processing, but we are below on coverage, is what it seems like. So I suppose it's two separate problems, two separate things going on. The trash buildings that we have keep filling up. And then once they're full, this building can't take away the trash. So what I'd like to do... We have one... what is this called? Waste transfer facility. We have 2 on this side, and so far 1 on this side, but lots of density going on. So maybe we'll start with somewhere over here. Yeah, as far away from this one as I can. So we'll put it over here, and then they will be able to go wherever they need to. That should be fine. Another issue that I think we're having is connectivity between this building and both of these places. This side may very well get its own transfer building. In fact, if only temporarily. It might be temporary, it might not be temporary. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen here, but let's connect this to the end of this road. Just to do it, just to get that done. I'm going to remove these trees for visual reasons. Some part of me wants to cross this river here also. Maybe we'll cross it at the most narrow point. Possibly. So that's fine. Let's add the transfer facility, or rather the processing facility. Waste processing complex. I'd like to... For this situation, we're going to make a little road that goes off from this, because I don't want to put it on a median road. This will almost certainly change later, but for now, let's put the complex here. The reason I did the offshoot is because we want them to be able to turn either direction. If we put it on the median road, they can only go one direction out of there. So I don't want to force that. I'd like for them to come down on either side. Now that we have a new waste processing complex, we can take the trash budget, which should be up at 150%. We can turn that down to 100%. Though I've heard it's kind of a cool move. You can turn everything to 101%, and you'll get one extra vehicle from each building. Somebody commented that, and I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. For all the buildings that produce vehicles, like fire trucks, ambulance, police, garbage, if you put it to 101%, that gives you an entire extra vehicle, apparently. So let's see how that changes things. Our garbage processing is now right in line with where it needs to be. Part of me also wants to... If you'll notice, this is like an extra connection to the other side up here. Oh, water. To finish that thought, I'd like to do maybe the same thing on the other side. Maybe. But let's do the water first before I forget. Go to there, and then we'll go 23 units over. Hopefully that gives that building the coverage it needs. And this one, we'll just do that. Pro player. Put pipes under roads. Hey, it worked. Okay. I don't know if that's going to save our trash situation, but it's certainly going to help. So now, ideally, this building will choose to pick up trash from this side. This building will choose to pick up trash from the other side. The game doesn't actually work that way, but in theory that would be nice. There is a mod that changes it. I haven't tried it. It's pretty advanced, apparently. Transfer Manager, I think it's called. And you can make it so by district, police cars stay in their district and trash stays in its district, if I understand right. I think that's how it's supposed to work. But hopefully we'll see the trash situation. Oh, and and the power. So we'll use this as a power line. Throw some commercial on there. Looking good. Hopefully that solves some of the trash issue that we're having. On this side, actually it looks okay. Let's go with that for the time being. We do have a ton of industrial demand or office demand, but what I'd like to do is something a little more creative. I would like to use a warehouse which will supply industrial jobs to this area. So small warehouse. Here's not bad. It does have 35 noise pollution associated with it, but it'll be able to supply all the commercial area here with goods is the thing. So let's try this. If the houses get mad at me for doing this, then I'll go back on it. But for now, let's set this to balanced, and we'll store goods. Zoned industry, sorry, commercial zone goods. So these goods are the type used by all of the commercial areas. So it's within range of all this high-density commercial and some low-density commercial, and it acts as a buffer. So trucks can come make deliveries here, and this can also produce trucks which deliver for all the commercial on the island, while satisfying a bit of industrial demand. Will it be enough to make a difference? No, but it might help a little bit. Hopefully this starts attracting vehicles. There we go. Yeah. So there's already a couple vehicles coming in from the highway to make the delivery there, coming across the way. Maybe vehicles from our industrial zone will cross to store goods at this warehouse. I'm fine with that. Nice. So let's finish zoning in this area. I have a sneaking suspicion that our education stuff is out of whack right now. Elementary school availability is good. Okay, so I'm not going to do elementary school because this area is totally covered. This area seems to be totally covered. This is all new, so they're not done cooking yet, but that's fine. High school, we are keeping up with it. Maybe it's fine for now. Yeah, I take it back. Forget about it. There's schools within range of all these buildings, and there is the headroom to support them. A library would be a good move, though. Yeah. Maybe on this side of the road, a more central location for the whole island. Beautiful. They get their own library. They will also get their own everything else. Everything. Get busy living. More living here. And by living, I mean residential. This road will probably become commercial on the roadside. So let's do low density commercial along here and along here. Living along here. Cool. And the power is transferring, so that's kind of nice. Trash seems to have stabilized, by the way. Let's see how many trucks this is running. 4 out of 16. 9 out of 16. So obviously there's more trash on this side, so it makes sense that this building would be working a bit harder, but that's okay. We still have massive commercial demand, so let's do a bit of low density along here, just to finish that up. And low density along here. Maybe not on the very corner, but all of the two unit sections. That looks nice. The houses are growing in. Still tons of residential and commercial, industrial / office demand is very, very high right now. But trash is certainly still keeping up. Let's do something crazy here. Let's change this up entirely. Remember how I was talking about connectivity to the processing center? I'm I'm probably going to lose a bit of population doing this, but it's okay. This should be worth it. I'm going to take this road, and we're going to put it under the highway here. And then connect it over here. But also, I might do something similar with this side. This side will be easy because we can just go right under the bridge. This one we'll kind of have to make our own way. So let's go up from this. I'm going to turn off road guidelines. 23 units. So maybe we'll go back by about 12 from here. Should be about there. Oh, that's 13. Yeah, we'll just go 12 units up and then 12 units over and down. But I want this to stay... I really don't like the tunnel move here. We could do a tunnel, but that... I don't care for that so much. I would much rather do a sunken road. So we're just going to go 10 meters, either 9 or 10 meters down. And I am going to use Anarchy for this, just so it looks a bit nicer. And we'll just get under the road and up the other side. 12 units up to ground. Nice. Now all that's left is to elevate these sections of highway. Ooh, out of city limits. Well, these are going to look a little strange until they don't anymore. Can I Anarchy through this? No, clearly not. They're just going to look like that until I buy that next tile. That's how it's going to be. That's the way life is. All of these may need to disappear. So all the ones that are not connected to a road can go away. But I will leave all of this zoned in. Except for this, not that side. Cool. That makes sense to me. Except for the fact that I can't elevate this bit of road. That's a little painful, but here's what we can do instead, actually. Wherever it will let me, the closest to the edge, right here. So we'll do that, and then we'll elevate those pieces instead. Ta-da! Looks fine, looks fine. There's a bit of an awkward... no, it works great. I'll go with that for now. We may further adjust this further once I've expanded the city a little bit. But let's make this connection and give this a more permanent place to be. Or we could even move it over to this road instead. And it'll keep them off of this. Holy cow, yeah. Absolutely. This is exciting. Finding slightly more permanent solutions to problems that I keep putting off. I'm just going to move this out of the way entirely for now. Just move it over here. This road. Oh, the trees. Those poor young lindens. They're polluted severely. Okay. That's a good start. And then we'll take our just regular road here. Let's see how big. I'm going to move this over and see how long the building actually is. And use that as a guide to inform this road. And then we're going to turn it towards that road so the vehicles coming out can turn left or right or do whatever they want, really. And of course, we'll get rid of the trees. Okay. At least that section of trees, just where that road is. But then it makes me want to connect this road too, so let's do that. Just get the suburban... Why not let it be the bikeable one? Why in the world not? Bring this one over to the edge. Bring this one under the highway. Yep, of course. Destroy that house. It has to be done. And we're going to keep this one grounded. I don't want the game to let it be a bridge. And we'll follow the coast. Nice. Bit of a wild ride. But this will enable this building to connect here and here and hopefully de-emphasize this center area a little bit. If they want to go straight around into this area, I would be very happy. Though there's no, it doesn't really make sense. It's fine. The connectivity will not hurt it, is the point. Similarly, let's look at this side. Same idea. Okay. That thing is almost certainly going to get destroyed, the pylon here. I'll have to remember to connect it, but we don't need it right now. So going under. And follow the coast a little ways. Bring this one over to about there, and then connect the two of them. It's a bit messy, but it's definitely not going to hurt anything. Okay. Let's see what routes vehicles decide to take in all of this. Oh, yep, so I forgot immediately to reconnect this. Okay. Are we all right? Yep, much better. This is self-sufficient, but now I've disconnected it from the grid. Yeah, both of these are now disconnected. So we'll use power lines to solve that as well. Good enough for me. And on this side, I'd like to say that this is temporary. I don't know how temporary it's going to be. Eventually this will fill in and be close enough to connect to everything. Oh. Oh. We don't have, without this connected, we actually don't have the electricity required. Or without this one. What to do? The electricity availability is also a bit of a lie right now because we have so many disconnected little networks going on. This is its own thing, this is its own thing, and this is an island currently. We are going to have to connect this for this to work out. Oh, this is what's wrong. This is the actual issue. Much better. Now we should be good. Please. Please. I wonder if changing the trash budget also negatively impacted this. There they go. Okay. We do have enough. This building is producing some amount of power as well. This one up in the corner. So when we connect it, that will further our power stuff. Cool. Trash should be very good for a long time. We've got 2 for this area, which is great. We've got 2 for this area, and extensive connectivity. That will also hopefully de-emphasize this roundabout a little bit and give good connectivity to this one without it being forced through this intersection so much, as this one is going to get wilder and wilder as time goes on. But I like that. I think that's a good solution to the problem at hand. Doesn't solve our zoning problems, but it does solve trash, which is all you can really hope for in this situation. I had a crazy idea just now. This corner, at least temporarily, will lend itself to industry because there's a bit of a buffer in between our this big residential area and this corner. So at least for the time being, I've got an industrial cul-de-sac here. And they'll be along the main road as well, across from the warehouse, so they can easily make deliveries, just like our old hot dog truck there. They can make deliveries to the warehouse if they want. It will also supply this entire area with its own industrial area to work in, so they don't have to commute to this isolated kind of remote spot up in the corner. I think that's a good solution, at least temporarily. We'll see how long, we'll see if that satisfies enough industrial demand. Oh, look, actually it looks awesome. That looks very, very good. There's still a bit of commercial demand, but I'm okay with that. Now, this will almost certainly become a park eventually. This will become something. These can be zoned in Actually, they're looking like they want to be commercial right now, so let's give that to them. And you can be commercial. Other than this park being done, the lower half of our island is looking very strong. Trash should be good for a long time. Slowly but surely, we are getting there. I like what I'm seeing. Everyone, thank you very much for hanging out and enjoying Benton. I hope you're having as much fun as I am doing this. Reminiscent of back when I used to play without mods, but with some small quality of life changes. Every now and then I want to use anarchy. Whatever. Every now and then I want to move something. But I do like playing with the spirit of vanilla and using the milestones and the money and the progression and everything like that. So this has been a blast. Feel free to join the Discord if you'd like. We have a Discord community going on. You can ask questions over there. Subscribe here, of course. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. 1 to 2 new videos a week. I'm always trying. Life has been a bit hectic lately, but I'm you know, I keep getting pulled back in, and I'm not sad about it. Also, I stream on Twitch twice a week, so feel free, if you're looking for some live interaction, feel free to check out the stream, twitch.tv/YumbleTV. Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out. I've been Yumble. I'll see you in the next stream or the next video.